Tell us about this yield curve. We're hearing conflicting things from Fed governors right now. We're hearing on the one hand Randy Quarles saying, don't worry about it, it's going to be just fine. We have James Bullard saying, I'm really worried.
Yeah.
Which one's right?
Well, I would lean more towards Bullard. But I think the Fed has sort of boxed itself in here. So they've given forward guidance that the terminal rate in the longer run is going to be somewhere around 2.9%. And 10-year yields tend to peak right about with the peak in Fed funds in most cycles. And so here we are, right? We've got the 10-year pretty close to that 2.9%, but they're still raising short rates. So the mechanics are you're going to see a flattening curve. And I think also the market just doesn't see the inflation on the horizon. They're looking at it sort of a temporary blip here and then coming back down.
But is part of the question, does the Fed see a potential recession on the horizon, or do they at least want to be prepared for that? Because if they want some ammunition for that, they sort of have to move up the rates.
Right. And that's the problem. They're sort of boxed in here, right? So on the one hand, the forward guidance is we're not going that far. On the other hand, you know, they've got to raise the short-term rate to get some, as you say, some ammunition, particularly as they're unwinding the balance sheet.
But you raised the point of not seeing sticky inflation, and that's sort of why the back end can't really be dominated by the Fed. But come inside the Bloomberg here, and this is sort of a longer-term question for me. This is crude versus 10-year break-evens, but you could probably swap it with aluminum or tin or nickel, and the overall rally in the commodity complex. If inflation expectations do start to move higher, what's the feed-through?
Yeah, I mean, it will push. We'll probably get up to 3.25, 3.5 or so. But again, is it sustainable inflation, or is this a one-time thing because of tariffs? You know, and are we going to see the pass-through to final inflation? So we've got wholesale prices going up, but you know, can they really pass that through?
But we heard from some Fed officials in the Beige Book in particular that there are companies that want to pass on the price increases, and they're starting to, but they're also scared to. And I think it was Bostic who said, no, do it. You're supposed to do it. He was telling Michael McKee at a Q&A. So that could be, I mean, that's the feed-through mechanism.
Right. And if it works, then we're going to get higher sustainable inflation. But, you know, one-time commodity price shocks do not always end up with sustainable inflation. Sometimes they just hurt margins, and sometimes, you know, demand declines.